The guy has psychic abilities. He can read other people's memories just by touching them. This time, he helped solve the case because he wants to become a police officer. After he excitedly reads out some numbers, Jisoo calls him a scoundrel. It turns out that those numbers are the victim's bust measurements. So, Jisoo kicks him out. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. It turned out that it was Prosecutor Sung Mo. The two doctors tried to distract Sung Mo, but he discovered that there was something very shady about them. Leon was hiding in a corpse cabinet. At this time, Sung Mo discovered that his younger brother was here. He tricked the two girls out and locked the door. When he pulled the cabinet open, he found his younger brother, Leon, already lying there. Leon repeated the evidence of his psychic ability to exonerate him, but he didn't care. He immediately threw Leon back into the morgue. Inside, Leon's head gradually made contact with cabinet surface, and images of corpses appeared in his mind one by one. Leon panicked and begged his brother to forgive him, but Sung Mo just stood there and smiled, causing him to faint. The scene changes to this side. The female lead Jae-in is moving to a new place with her aunt. She goes to change clothes in a supermarket when someone peeps through a hole in the wall. Feeling that something is wrong, Jae-in checks around. When looking through the hole, their eyes meet, causing both of them to panic. She quickly chases after that pervert, but loses track of him. At this time, Leon is on his way to school because he bumps into that pervert. The physical contact makes him see all of his bad actions. Coincidentally, Leon is wearing the same clothes as that pervert. While he is walking and talking to his best friend, Jae-in records everything because she thinks Leon is a pervert. She also records the part where Leon is talking about how he used to sense the size of his underwear. That evidence is enough for Jae-in to stop Leon and expose him. He remembered the memory of when he touched the pervert and saw Jae-in's figure. He calmly said that he had never seen her in the bathroom, but she had not mentioned it at all. There was really nothing left to argue, so she kicked Leon straight in the groin. He touched her foot and saw the memory. He felt that her life was extremely miserable. He saw that she had been abused since she was young. Because he could not explain clearly, he was still taken to the police station. Actually, this was not the first time he had been to the police station. He had always been a thug in this area. Every few days, he would fight with someone. Even the police knew that he often fought. He almost went to a juvenile detention center. Luckily, Jisoo saved him. She knew his abilities, so they often worked together to solve cases. After returning to school, he still could not stay still. He did not like to study and always came late and left early, so he never obediently went through the main door. But luckily he was handsome and was liked by many girls. He thought he could escape. Unexpectedly, as soon as he arrived at the staff room, he was discovered by Jae-in. She had just transferred to another school. At the same time, Jae-in also had a prejudice against Leon because of a previous misunderstanding. Before he could explain, he was taken into the office by the math teacher. He did not know why Leon's grades suddenly changed from last to top 15 of the entire grade. He felt that this was absolutely impossible. According to the surveillance camera, Leon had sneaked into the staff room the day before the midterm exam. Because Leon had secretly looked at the exam papers, he was able to get a high score. But the truth was not like that. On the day of the exam, Leon used his superpowers to cheat. Leon copied all the answers from the good students sitting in front of him. The teacher felt that Leon's parents should definitely be invited. Unfortunately, Leon had already lost both parents. More than 10 years ago, an accident happened. The high-rise building where Leon's family lived caught fire. Because many cars were blocking the way of the firefighters, the fire truck could not reach the scene in time. In order to save Leon from the fire, Sung Mo broke the 7th floor security glass. Seeing that there was no way back, Kang Mo hugged the unconscious Leon and jumped straight from the high-rise building. Then they fell heavily onto a car. 11 years had passed, and Sung Mo was now an excellent prosecutor. His ultimate goal was to investigate the truth about the big fire that happened in the apartment building that year. In that fire, Leon lost his parents. Sung Mo also lost his mother, who had always relied on him. That day, Sung Mo received news that the Hanmin nursing home had caught fire. Most people died of suffocation, but there were also 3 women whose cause of death was being raped in the right abdomen. This case was extremely similar to the Jong-sung apartment case that year. Before that, Leon used his ability to look back at the past. Although he only saw the size of women's underwear, the image that appeared showed a woman wearing a ring. Perhaps this woman was the key to solving the case and investigating the truth about the fire. The police found a witness at the scene. The witness said that when he went to the Hanmin nursing home, he accidentally discovered a crazy woman. She used a knife to rape a patient. Then she poured gasoline on the ground and took out a lighter to burn it. That's why the fire broke out. The police thought that since they had a complete description from the witness, they could close the case. But Jisoo objected because none of the women at the scene were wearing rings. Therefore, the case needed further investigation. Leon's psychic psychic ability could not be known to others, so Jisoo could only remain silent. To reduce public pressure, the police could only let Sungmo investigate the results of the case. Leon was not in the mood to study at school, so he went to the rooftop to review the documents about the fire that year. Sungmo remembered that at that time, Leon and his parents were both stuck in the elevator. It was Sungmo who discovered their family. Immediately after, the apartment security rushed to the scene. After they rescued Leon, the elevator cable immediately broke. His parents also died because of that. At the same time, Jae-in had just finished the school transfer procedure. She also received the attention of her classmates. To be more exact, she was ostracized. Since she started school, she had always been bullied by her classmates, so she could only transfer schools over and over again. But every time, the result was the same. She was helpless and could only run to the rooftop to release her emotions. She kept pounding her chest with her hands. It turned out that every time she encountered such a thing, she felt extremely pressured and even had difficulty breathing. The only way was to breathe heavily into a paper bag. It turned out that the police investigation that year showed that the arsonist of the Jongsung apartment fire was the security guard, who was also Jae-in's father, Tae-ha. Having a father who was a murderer, her life was not easy. All these years, she had been hiding. She just hoped not to have to remember what her father had done. After adjusting her mood, she saw the Jongsung apartment. Because of the fire that year, no one was living there anymore. When the fire broke out, she was downstairs. She even witnessed Sungmo hugging Leon and jumping down from the top. She couldn't believe that the culprit was her father. She decided to go back to class. At that moment, Leon jumped down. Neither he nor she could have imagined that the Jongsung apartment case would tie them together. Since his parents passed away, little Leon could only helplessly sit on the street. But no matter how long he waited, his parents would never come back. When he touched the relics his parents left behind, he initially gained psychic abilities. Leon cried heartbrokenly in the heavy snow. At this time, a little girl ran past him anxiously. She didn't stop even when her shoes fell. Leon touched the shoe, and the image immediately appeared in his mind. But at this moment, Leon didn't know what this meant. He just felt a splitting headache. Later, the police identified the arsonist as the security guard. He was quickly arrested. Little Jae-in saw her father being taken away by the police with her own eyes. She had lived with her father since she was little. She couldn't believe that her father was a murderer. On her way home from the police station, she accidentally bumped into Leon. Thinking about her father going to jail, she couldn't help but cry. So he took out some candy and gave it to her. He just hoped that she wouldn't be sad anymore. More than 10 years later, the two of them went to the same school, but they didn't recognize each other. When they returned to class, the math teacher praised her achievements. Then he started to belittle the children in single-parent families. The person he was targeting was Leon. The teacher felt that Leon had not only lost her parents, but also her will. The teacher's words made Jae-in feel uncomfortable. She hated it when others used her family's circumstances to talk about her. She understood that if he looked down on children like Leon, he would probably look down on someone who brought shame to her family like her. She argued that he only relied on a surveillance video to conclude that Leon had broken into the staff room. Such a conclusion was too much. She clearly stated that Leon often came home early and did not know the teacher. How could he have found the exam papers in the staff room? He felt humiliated, so he said that if Jae-in wanted to prove Leon's innocence, she had to find the person who had actually broken into the staff room. Only then could she clear Leon's name. She refused to give up and said that if she found the person who broke in, she would ask the teacher to apologize to them on the spot. Otherwise, she would voluntarily drop out of school. That night, after everyone had finished school, Leon quietly appeared in the staff room. After 3 days of this incident, he felt that he had to investigate himself and not let Jae-in take the risk. He had to find evidence before class tomorrow. Because he had psychic abilities, he wanted to use them to crack password. But because his abilities were not enough, he could only see 2 numbers. When he decided to further investigate the password, Jae-in appeared. She easily cracked the password. It turned out that he had just solved the 2 numbers 6 and 2. It was June 2nd, 2002. He guessed that this was most likely the password. He didn't expect her to guess correctly. After that, the two of them started looking for evidence. She found a pornographic magazine in the drawer. He went up to touch it and suddenly activated his psychic abilities. It turned out that a female student had sneaked into the staff room and opened a small yellow bag inside the drawer. Not only did the bag contain supplies, but it also contained pregnancy test. Although they couldn't find any solid evidence, Jae-in discovered a shocking secret. At this time, the security guard was on patrol. In order to avoid being discovered, he led her to hide behind the makeup mirror. He reminded her that her shoes were sticking out, but she didn't hear. In the end, he could only pull her in front of him. Unexpectedly, this touch made him see a mysterious number. She was extremely nervous because these numbers were her secret. When she returned home, someone followed her. When she turned around, she realized that the person was Sung Mo, the person who had always sponsored her to go to school. Perhaps it was a coincidence. The house she rented was right across from Sung Mo's house. He not only sponsored her, but also saved Lee On. The two had a good relationship like real siblings. The next day, Lee On went to his brother to ask him to find the female student who broke into the staff room. He came up with a strange idea and pressed the alarm. Everyone thought something was wrong, so they all ran out of the classroom. He reached out to touch every female student who passed by. That way he could find out who broke into the staff room. But there were really too many female students in the school. At this time, he also learned a lot of secrets. At the same time, his body was about to burst and he had a nosebleed. In the end, he rolled down the stairs from exhaustion. In the whole grade, only 3 people did not run out. One was Leon's brother Dae Bong, the other was the class beauty So Hun, and the last one was Jae In. It turned out that So Hun and Jae In had forgotten each other very early on. That year, it was So Hun's father who reported Jae In's father. So Hun called Jae In out and said that she was the female student who broke into the staff room. It turned out that So Hun was pregnant, so she had to steal the pregnancy test. So now Jae In was facing 2 problems. Either she could tell Leon to clear her suspicions, or she could give up the investigation and directly choose to drop out of school. At the same time, Leon also learned about the yellow makeup bag from the fat teacher. At that time, the fat teacher saw a female student in the corner holding a pregnancy test. When the teacher arrived, she quickly hid the pregnancy test in the yellow bag. At this time, the math teacher also came to the scene to confiscate the yellow bag. So she tried every way to break into the staff room to steal the item. Jae In was curious about how Leon knew about this. She told him to absolutely not tell the truth. Otherwise, So Hun would be expelled from school. When the math teacher came to class, he still remembered the bet. Moreover, he also investigated Jae In's background. Just as he was about to say that her father was the murderer, she stood up excitedly and revealed the secret she had discovered yesterday. She said she didn't know who had sneaked into the staff room, but when she opened the small yellow bag, she found that the answer sheet had already been filled in, and the answer sheet was in his drawer. It could be seen that the person who leaked the exam was the teacher. He wanted to defend himself, but she had read out the student's name on the answer sheet. Now, all she had to do was compare the answer sheet to see if what she said was trustworthy. After that, the principal fired him. When Jae In went to find Leon to ask how he knew those numbers, they both received a call from the police. It turned out that Peeping Tom had been found. Only then did she realize that she had wrongly accused him, so she apologized. That evening, she saw Sung Mo coming home from work and intending to greet him. Unexpectedly, she discovered that Leon was also at Sung Mo's house, so she hurriedly ran away. Then, she accidentally heard Sung Mo scolding Leon. Sung Mo felt that Leon's psychic ability was extremely dangerous. Although Leon could see that someone was holding a knife and wanted to kill someone, he could not see who the culprit was. Sung Mo told Leon to absolutely not be arrogant and complacent. Leon was scolded, so he angrily kicked and broke the flower pot. The loud noise scared her, who was hiding next to her, so she could only obediently stand up. She always thought that her father was not culprit. After she discovered that Leon had psychic ability through contact, she immediately felt like she saw hope. The next day, when she went to school, she found that he had been waiting at the door because he had agreed to be her bodyguard and always protect her. Although she said she didn't need it, she still liked this feeling of security. When they arrived at school, they found someone using red paint to write a sentence on the wall that she was the murderer's daughter. Jae In. Leon found the paint bottle on the ground and used his psychic ability to sense it. Last night, the math teacher had intentionally written on the wall. He was afraid that she would be heartbroken, so he used paint to erase the original sentence. When he arrived at the classroom, he found that she had disappeared. He was afraid that something had happened to her, so he went to the rooftop to look for her. Every time she was heartbroken, she would come here, but he couldn't find her on the rooftop. When he went to her house, he found that everything inside had been cleaned out. Actually, this was her normal life. As long as the people around her knew that her father was a murderer, she would choose to leave that place immediately. At this time, he discovered the photo in her room. This girl was the one he met when he was young. He touched the doorknob that she touched before leaving, and he also knew what she wanted to say. She thanked him for his presence, which comforted her. She hoped that he could train his abilities well. They would meet again if they were fated. At the same time, Sung Mo was also investigating the case. The previous witness, Mr. Kim, was murdered. Sung Mo thought of the case at the nursing home. All the victims had one obvious characteristic, which was a 10mm stab wound in the right abdomen. Although Mr. Kim's hands and feet were tied with iron chains, the fatal wound was indeed in the right abdomen. Sung Mo thought that the murderer was not the crazy woman that Mr. Kim said. The real murderer was most likely the person man who killed him. Then, Sun Mo thought of the arsonist of Jongsung apartment building. They both had similar characteristics. The scapegoat was either in prison or dead, while the real culprit was still at large. Years had passed, but Leon had always thought of Jae-in. He had always been searching for this indelible figure. It was just a pity that he had never found her. Today was the day he took the police exam. Although his results were not good, thanks to his psychic ability, as long as he knew the answers of the person in front of him, he could easily pass. Unexpectedly, his actions were warned by the examiner. The familiar voice made him stunned. He looked up and saw that person in front of him was Jae-in, the girl he had been looking for a long time. It turned out that she had become a police officer one step ahead of him. The Jongsung apartment arson case that year will be continued by the two people. Time goes back to before the incident happened. Taeha put his shirt on Jae-in. To keep everyone's escape route clear, Taeha decided to stick a slogan on the wall. But at this time, a man wearing a hat passed by the security guard. He saw Jae-in sleeping soundly in the security guard's booth, so he carried out his daring plan. After the building exploded, Jae-in was awakened. The security guard uniform on her body also disappeared. When Taeha saw the apartment on fire, he hurriedly prepared to evacuate the crowd. At the same time, he was also comforting his daughter downstairs. He told her not to worry. He would come down right away. After that, Taeha also saved Leon. But in the end, he was considered the murderer. Jae-in believed that with her and Leon's efforts, she could definitely clear her father's suspicion. At the same time, she found the real culprit. Even though she became a police officer, she was assigned to a very remote area. Jae-in's daily job was to help a lost old lady find her way home. She wanted to get in touch with more important cases, but it was impossible. That day, when Jae-in was licking her fingers, Leon happened to come over. He saw her flustered appearance. She smiled shyly, but the two of them were so close that they didn't pay much attention. She complained to him that she was assigned to this place, which made it difficult to handle big cases. Of course, she couldn't get in touch with the apartment case that year. At this time, a woman came to the police station in a panic. She said that her daughter had gone missing. Jae-in and Leon started looking for her everywhere. He discovered a rag doll floating in the river. The moment he touched the doll, he saw a black suitcase. The zipper of the suitcase revealed a strand of hair. He was worried. Could it be that the girl had been harmed? The next second, the situation was reversed. It turned out that the girl had not been harmed and was standing unharmed on the bridge. Everyone thought this was just a joke. Jae-in decided to leave, but Leon suddenly called her back. At this time, the two of them also saw the suitcase. Perhaps there was really a body hidden inside. The police quickly gathered and went to the riverbank to investigate. Even the criminal police officer Ji-soo also arrived at the scene. After they opened the suitcase, they discovered a woman's body inside. Leon went forward to greet his old friend Ji-soo. He also said that he would try to feel every blade of grass. That way, the murderer could be brought to justice. Jae-in did not want to stay in this remote area forever. She wanted to become a senior criminal police officer. So Jae-in hurriedly went to Ji-soo to show off her abilities. She guessed that the suitcase might have drifted down from upstream. Now that the weather was dry, the river water was gradually evaporating, so the suitcase stopped here. She guessed that the crime scene was not here. After bringing the body to the police station, the forensic police immediately took fingerprints of the body. At this time, Sunmo also knew about the body. Moreover, it was discovered by Jae-in and Leon, so he kept driving back to that area. Just like that, the three people involved in the apartment case that year were now gathered together. At the same time, a truck driver was monitoring them not far away. He was Jun Tae, the man who was hidden when he passed by the security guard that year. 10 years ago, Sung Mo and his mother moved to Jongsung apartment. At that time, Sung Mo always felt like someone was following them. One day, there was a knock on the door. He looked through the peephole and found out that the head of the Women's Association had summoned them to a meeting. The purpose was to discuss how to get rid of Taeha because he was the one who went around promoting fire prevention. All of this was seen by Jun Taek. Jun Taek stood in another building of Jongsung's apartment building to monitor. Many years passed and he appeared again. This time his target was the three people in front of him. The next day, Leon took out the shoes Jae-in had dropped when she was little to make it clear to her that he was the boy from back then. After Leon got in the car and left, Jun Taek pretended to be a delivery man and went to his and Sung Mo's place. Jun Taek carefully observed the location and then opened the package. Jun Taek also installed a surveillance device in the appropriate location. After Leon found Jae-in, he explained to her what happened when she was little. He took out his shoes and said that he was the boy from back then, but she had forgotten that memory because at that time her father was considered a murderer, so she chose to forget. But he did not give up. He was determined to pursue her. He did not want the two of them to miss each other like that anymore. Sung Mo called the two of them. Sung Mo wanted Jae-in to help him train Leon's psychic abilities. A few years ago, he had kicked the flower pot and broken broken it. At that time, Sungmo had heard their conversation. Now Sungmo and Jae-in both knew that Leon had psychic abilities. That night, he went to see the progress of the case of the body in the suitcase. He followed curiously, but a truck overtook him. He felt something was wrong, so he quickly stepped on the gas to chase after her. Obviously, the truck that was aiming at Leon was driving ahead. Leon chased the truck because he wanted to see what was going on. Unexpectedly, the driver inside ran away. He felt very strange. He suspected that this driver must be hiding some secret. When Leon turned around, Guntek suddenly appeared in front of him. Jae-in had a premonition that something bad was going to happen, but she didn't know what would happen. Leon couldn't fight back against this strong murderer. His knife stabbed hard into Leon's right abdomen. At this time, Leon also touched Juntaek's hand with her finger. Images immediately appeared in Leon's mind. Inside was not only Sungmo's school days, but also the scene when Jong-sun's apartment building caught fire. Perhaps Guntaek was at the scene and witnessed everything. Leon reached out to grab Guntaek's hat, but his strength was very weak. At this time, a couple passed by and discovered them, so Guntaek had to pull out his knife and run away. Leon was quickly taken to the hospital. Leon told Sungmo what he saw. After the surgery, he was finally out of danger. Sungmo continued to follow the case of the woman in the suitcase. Through forensic examination, the victim in the suitcase was Hee-suk, who went missing from the Hanmin nursing home 2 years ago. Sungmo realized that 2 years ago, the woman was wearing a ring, but now the ring on her hand was no longer there. In addition, the female forensic also judged that at least 4 years had passed since her death. But the fire at the nursing home happened 2 years ago. The situation became more and more unpredictable. If she really died 4 years ago, then who was the woman wearing the ring 2 years ago? At the same time, Juntaek came to the hospital and planned to kill Leon. At this time, Leon was still happily eating ham. Leon was completely unaware of the danger that was about to strike. Juntaek's footsteps echoed throughout the hallway. Leon thought that Daebong had come to visit him, so Leon prepared to hide behind the curtain to surprise Daebong. Juntaek was getting closer and closer. At this time, Leon used curtain to roll himself up, but a woman's voice was heard from inside the curtain, so he hurriedly opened the curtain. Then he saw Jae-in being turned around. It was her appearance that saved Leon. Time returned to more than 10 years ago. Sungmo looked through the peephole and saw that in the opposite building, someone was staring at him. He turned around and told his mother that the person had found them. Sure enough, not long after, the person dragged the heavy suitcase over. After the man opened the door, he discovered that the person inside had already moved out. Sungmo and his mother had escaped right before the man's eyes. The man angrily opened the suitcase, took out the dagger, and swore to find the two of them. Sungmo remembered what happened more than 10 years ago. He remembered that his mother had said that the person would stop only when she died. The incident was over. The criminal police had put Hee-suk on the list of important investigation subjects because they were investigating the case of the woman in the suitcase. Now they only needed to find the person who impersonated Hee-suk 2 years ago to solve the mystery of the suitcase case. At the same time, Ji-soo was also investigating the truck driver, but she couldn't find anything from the surveillance video. He never got out of the car during the whole process. There were no cameras at the place where he stabbed Leon. They couldn't find any clues at all. In order to train Leon's psychic abilities, Sungmo gave her a notebook. He said that this time, it would depend on her performance. Looking at the contents of the notebook, she said that Leon's ability could be trained, but she didn't know to what extent it would be considered qualified. Sungmo said that if Leon could sense him, it would be considered a huge improvement. After his wound healed, Leon took Daebong with him. They went to Jae-in's management area. Seeing how remote this place was, Daebong originally planned to return home, but he decided to stay when he saw that the class beauty Sohun had opened a kindergarten here. It turned out that Daebong had always secretly liked Sohun, but he didn't dare to confess to her. Now that he saw her again, he didn't want to miss this opportunity. Jae-in began to train Leon's telepathy. The first step, of course, was food. Leon felt that this kind of low-level training was too time-consuming, so the two went to the library to find some books related to criminal investigation and criminal psychology. Ji-soo investigated this case for a long time, but there was no progress. The female forensic doctor came up with a way for Ji-soo. She said that Leon's wound had just healed. To test if his ability was affected, they could let him come here to sense it. He arrived very quickly. After finishing his preparations, he gently placed his finger on the body. Very quickly, he saw the image of the victim when he was still alive. In a dilapidated building, a man holding an iron hammer came to the woman. He immediately felt a splitting headache. From that image, he also saw 2 black suitcases. He recognized the person holding the hammer. This person was the old Kim who was harmed by the iron. At this time, Sungmo also found a caregiver at the nursing home. She was the only survivor who had ever met met Hee-suk. Holding the portrait in his hand, he felt that things had progressed, but Sung-mo had no idea that Geun-taek had arrived at his door at this time. Through the surveillance device that had been installed earlier, Geun-taek easily knew the password to unlock Sung-mo's door. After Geun-taek opened the door, he went straight to Sung-mo's room. Geun-taek saw a photo of Sung-mo and his mother that year. Sung-mo went to the body room. The murderer who had murdered Hee-suk had also been confirmed. It was old Kim, who had previously acted as a witness. He was later murdered again. Leon guessed that old Kim was not the real murderer. He was just following the instructions of the murderer behind him. Because Leon had heard a sentence just now, the murderer behind him wanted old Kim to get rid of the trouble forever. But when Jisoo gave the simulation sketch to Leon, he said he had not seen this person. When Leon returned home, he also practiced his psychic ability. He decided to use his hand to touch the door lock to get the password, but as soon as he touched the door lock, he suddenly saw something strange. Geun-taek skillfully entered the password to Sung-mo's house. After Leon entered the room, he discovered that Sung-mo's room had not been searched at all. Leon opened his own door and found no traces of being tampered with. After Sung-mo returned, he said that the photo of him and his mother had disappeared. Leon felt extremely suspicious. Did that person break into the room just to take a photo? Leon asked Sung-mo if he knew that person, but Sung-mo was stunned. It turned out that when Sung-mo was young, he wanted to leave Korea because he did not want to see that man. But now he knew that if he didn't solve it, it would never end. So he decided to find out and deal with that person. That day, Leon accidentally saw two medical terms in the book. They were dyslexia and aphasia. Then he went to a place called a brokerage agency. It turned out that through investigating Mr. Kim's background, the police discovered that he was very likely related to this place. Leon wanted Jae-in to be transferred from her current job as soon as possible, so he brought her there to find some clues. The brokerage agency was a human trafficking organization. The targets were some vagrants and scavengers. There were also some people with bad credit. The ID cards of these people would be mixed up to make fake passports or fake phone registrations. Leon looked at the glass of water in front of him and put his finger on it. He immediately saw a related image. It turned out that the glass of water had been drugged before. Once he drank it, it was very difficult to wake up. He realized that there was something wrong with the glass of water. At this time, the thugs could no longer restrain themselves. They wanted to teach Leon and Jae-in a lesson. Leon often beat him, so he was not afraid of this scene at all. Jae-in, on the other hand, was professionally trained, so she became more and more aggressive as she beat him. But there were really too many opponents. The two of them had no choice but to retreat. At this moment, the police finally arrived at the scene. The police arrested all the staff present. At this time, Jisoo also ran over. In order to avoid being discovered by Jisoo, Leon secretly took Jae-in to the rooftop to enjoy the beautiful scenery. Their relationship gradually deepened. In the end, he still could not control himself and gently kissed her. But this time, he didn't realize her secret. That day, Sung-mo stood in front of the house and remembered Geun-taek. Sung-mo raised his head and discovered the surveillance device above. Facing the camera, Sung-mo declared war on Geun-taek. Sung-mo knew that Geun-taek was looking at him. Sung-mo also knew that Geun-taek had always been planning. Sung-mo also said that to stop Geun-taek from continuing to do wrong, he could deal with Geun-taek. Then Sung-mo immediately took down the camera. After Sung-mo returned to his room, he plugged the USB into the computer. What appeared before his eyes was the image of the subway chicken. After comparing many times, he discovered that a man wearing a hat had appeared many times. At the same time, Sung-mo also discovered that this was where he often appeared. Sung-mo got the clue from the person in charge of brokerage center. On the day of the incident, after Lau Kim saw him, Lau Kim felt that he had been exposed. So Mr. Kim quickly called the person in charge and told them to go to the nursing home to find a woman named Kim Sung-hee and take her to a safe place. But when the person in charge ran over, she found that there was no one in the hospital room. She couldn't find the woman wearing the ring. Sung-mo was a little panicked, and this also attracted Jisoo's attention. Jisoo discovered that Kim Sung-hee was the missing Hee-suk. It was obvious that Sung-mo had known about this for a long time, but he didn't say anything. She was suspicious about this. At this time, Leon was in Sung-mo's room and found an old dictionary with a few words marked on it. They were words related to anger and happiness. This made Leon suspicious. Sung-mo was a very excellent prosecutor. Why did he have to learn these basic things? Driven by curiosity, Leon decided to use his psychic ability to place his hand on words. What appeared in Leon's mind was the conversation between Sung-mo and his mother. Through this conversation, Leon realized something. Leon came to pick up Sung-mo from work. Leon intentionally stepped on Sung-mo's foot, but Sung-mo felt pain like a normal person. Leon felt extremely guilty. But what Leon didn't know was that after so many years of training, Sung-mo was able to simulate real pain even if he didn't feel it. He also wouldn't show it it in front of others. Sungmo looked at the dictionary in front of him and fell into deep thought. But Sungmo had declared war on Jontae. Sungmo saw him as a monster. Through the camera's direction in this area, Sungmo gradually investigated Juntaek's trajectory of action. The reason the police couldn't find any useful clues was because Juntaek had the ability to counter reconnaissance. Juntaek controlled all the actions in the surveillance blind spot. The reason Sungmo wanted to find Juntaek included Jae-in. It turned out that when he was very young, it was Jae-in who made Sungmo feel what joy was. At the same time, the female forensic investigator discovered that regardless of whether it was the fake Hee-suk or the now disappeared Kim Song-hee, their portraits were very similar to the same person. That was Eunju, Sungmo's mother. That year, a major fire broke out in Jong-sung's apartment building. Because the body was charred black and there was an ID card in the bag, they couldn't do a DNA test. They had to conclude that Eunju was dead, but Sungmo seemed to have always known that his mother was still alive. At this time, Jae-in shed tears at Leon's confession. She wanted to be with him forever, but the hatred between the two of them would be the biggest obstacle. He wiped away her tears. At this moment, his psychic ability was activated. He saw the image of more than 10 years ago. Inside was not only her childhood, but also Tae-ha, who was considered the arsonist of the apartment building. She had always believed that her father was innocent, but until now, she had not been able to find evidence. So she had not been able to recant her father's testimony. So now, it could be considered that her father had murdered his parents. Now he knew the truth. He suddenly felt both pain and despair, because the person he loved was the daughter of his enemy. Remembering the pain of losing his parents more than 10 years ago, he could never forget it for the rest of his life. He hoped that God could use another way to punish him. From that moment on, he had deeply remembered the appearance of the murderer. But now, the daughter of his enemy was standing right in front of him. He did not even have the courage to scold her. No matter how she explained, he could not accept it. It soon started to rain heavily. He ignored her attempts to stop him and left, leaving her alone in the rain. This time, her shoes fell to the ground, but the boy who had comforted her years ago was no longer there. Standing on the bridge, he felt extremely sad. He missed his parents so much. He also felt that God had treated him unfairly. He never thought that two people who had endured loneliness since childhood would end up like this. In order to investigate the truth about Eunju's death, Jisoo went to the witness at that time. The witness looked at the photo and said that the person wearing the ring at the nursing home 2 years ago was Eunju, who was also Sungmo's mother. The next day, Jisoo received a phone call from her subordinate. It turned out that her subordinate had investigated Kim Song-hee's medical records from about a month ago. The location was a small island, but unexpectedly, before Jisoo picked up the phone, Sungmo had already identified Kim Song-hee's medical records. He even submitted an indefinite leave of absence. Now, Jisoo couldn't contact Sungmo either. Leon went home and discovered a map Sungmo left behind. On it were marked all the locations with surveillance cameras. When Leon placed his finger on it, his psychic ability was immediately activated. Leon discovered that every time he and Jae-in dated, Sungmo watched from afar. This wasn't surveillance, but protection. On the last page, Sungmo also left a note, hoping that Leon could protect Jae-in well. Leon felt something was wrong, so he quickly took out his phone and called Sungmo. But Sungmo had turned off his phone long ago. No one answered. At this time, Jisoo called Leon and told him that Sungmo's mother, Eunju, was not dead. Before that, Sungmo had personally come to find her, and Jae-in said that her father was not the arsonist that year. The real identity of the murderer was about to be revealed. After Jo-soo learned that Sungmo had left a map, she immediately remembered what he had said before. That person would destroy all the people he cherished. This meant that Leon and Jae-in would both be in danger. Jisoo advised Leon not to be angry with Jae-in. No matter what conflicts they had, they should put them aside. The most important thing was to protect the safety of the two of them first. Leon hurriedly drove to the management team, but it was already late at night, so no matter how he knocked, no one answered. However, just as Leon was calling Jae-in, her phone suddenly rang on the side of the road. He looked at the phone on the ground. He realized that she might be in danger. He discovered that the camera above was damaged. It seemed that all of this was planned. He quickly touched the phone to look for clues. Immediately, the sensor image appeared. It turned out that on the way home from work, Jae-in accidentally bumped into the mysterious person and dropped her glasses. Immediately, she also saw the mysterious person's appearance. When Leon looked at the mysterious person, he suddenly remembered the scene where he was stabbed earlier. Leon discovered that these two people were the same, and his appearance was to kill the two of them. At the same time, Jae-in was tied up by him. Her whole body was unable to move. She slowly woke up from her coma. She found herself tied up in a bathtub with no one around. No matter what she did, she couldn't escape the bondage. She remembered that she had just prepared to go out to find Sungmo when she collided with a man in black. Her phone also fell to the ground. Just as she was about about to bend down to pick up the phone, he quickly covered her mouth from behind. She didn't know what happened after that. She helplessly looked around. There was no one around. She immediately recalled her childhood memories. On the night of the big fire in the apartment building, she was sleeping in the security room. She was wearing her father's security jacket. However, just as she was sleeping, someone suddenly took the security jacket off her. She remembered that the person who took the jacket and the person who kidnapped her were the same person. At this time, he went into the bathroom and took Jae-in's phone to call Sung Mo. The man asked Sung Mo if he had found his mother, Unju. The man said that he had kidnapped Jae-in to threaten Sung Mo. Jae-in heard everything he said, but unfortunately, her hands and feet were tied. Other than glaring at him, she could do nothing else. At the same time, Leon relied on the map Sung Mo left and tried to find where Jun Taek could be hiding. Leon touched the wall next to him and wanted to use his psychic ability to find clues. Although this method was like looking for a needle in a haystack, it was currently the most effective method. To prevent Jae-in from escaping, Jun Taek nailed the chain. At this time, the police had arrived at Jae-in's workplace. This was Jisoo's order. It turned out that Jisoo had been looking for Sung Mo on the island. Unfortunately, she had searched for a long time, but still could not find any trace of him. When Jae-in's superior heard that she was missing, he cordoned off some areas and told the police to quickly search for her traces. Because Leon's psychic ability was not yet mature enough, he was extremely tired soon. More than an hour had passed, and he still hadn't found any clues related to Jae-in. The police advised him to rest, but how could he give up the search? He regretted having a conflict with her. Otherwise, she wouldn't have faced such danger. Therefore, he swore that he would definitely find her. After making sure that Jae-in couldn't escape, Jin Taek drove out. However, the police were now searching for him all over the city. Once he showed any signs of weakness, it would be very difficult to escape. But now, he could only bet that the police had no information about him. When the police checked, he was calm. As expected, the police did not suspect him at all. Nothing suspicious was found in the truck. In the end, they could only let him go. Unexpectedly, as soon as he drove away, the police received a video related to the murderer. They realized that the person they had just let go was the murderer who kidnapped Jae-in. The police quickly launched a hunt for him. He also had a very strong anti-reconnaissance sense. He had already determined the escape route. The bathtub where Jae-in was blinded was starting to drain water. It wouldn't be long before the water would drown her. If she still couldn't wait for someone to come to rescue her, then it would be difficult for her to escape death. It turned out that when she was kidnapped, she thought of his psychic ability, so she intentionally left some clues in the hope that he would see them. After a while of searching, he came to a dilapidated building. The moment her finger touched the doorknob, an image immediately appeared. Turned out that she was right inside. At that time, she even deliberately stroked the door. That was to leave her information. The water kept flowing into the bathtub, causing her to be submerged in the water, but her hands and feet were dazed, so she couldn't move. She was gradually losing consciousness. He finally arrived at the scene. Looking at her sinking in the bathtub, he blamed himself. He quickly jumped into the bathtub and lifted her head. Then he untied the rope on her hands. After a long time of soaking in the water, her complexion was very pale. No matter how he called, he didn't get a response. Fortunately, the doctor rushed over in time to save her. At this time, the police were chasing Jin Taek, but he was really too cunning. Several hours passed without any results. They had no idea that the killer was so formidable. The next day, Jisoo went to the clinic on the island and showed Unju's photo. The doctor recognized the woman in the photo. The doctor said she had been here 2 years ago. Sung Mo had also come to ask about her yesterday. But what disappointed Jisoo was that Unju had left the island. She no longer lived here. She had come to the island 2 years ago. At that time, she had no desire to live. She wanted to go straight into the water to end her life. Luckily, the villagers discovered her in time and saved her. After Unju recovered, she left the island. She also left a ring on the bed. That ring was also taken away by Sung Mo. Jisoo looked at the ocean before her eyes and did not understand why Unju chose to do such a foolish thing. Only Sung Mo could answer all of these questions. In the hospital, Jae-in's condition had improved. Leon decided to leave the police about his son here alone. But Leon didn't know that Sung Mo was standing nearby watching them. Jae-in's kidnapping must have something to do with Unju, so Leon had to use his power to take revenge on the kidnapper. Sung Mo went to the church to repent. That year, Leon's father was also a police officer. He even gave Sung Mo a business card, but Sung Mo didn't choose to ask for help. Later, Sung Mo also thought about this problem. If Sung Mo had chosen to ask the police for help, perhaps these things wouldn't have happened. Unfortunately, Sung Mo wasn't brave enough at that time, so he could only use his own way to solve everything. Jae-in's health gradually recovered. She could also continue to go back to the police station to work. When Leon returned, she found that Jisoo had transferred all the documents. Jisoo said that she had to find a way to investigate the truth. She had to find a way to stop Sung Mo's actions. emotions. Leon had lived with Sungmo for so many years, so he knew that if Sungmo found Geun-taek, Sungmo would definitely deal with Geun-taek. The investigation results showed that Sungmo was born in 1987, but the documents said 1996, a gap of 9 years. Jisoo remembered that Sungmo had said that his father had passed away a long time ago. What secret was hidden inside? The three of them quickly arrived at Sungmo's birthplace. This was an abandoned steel factory. The three of them hoped to find some clues here, but looking at the situation of the steel factory, it could be seen that no one had been there for a long time. At this moment, the three of them discovered a small door. Leon touched the doorknob with his finger. Previous images immediately appeared in his mind. It turned out that Sungmo had been here before. Moreover, it hadn't been that long. Looking at the decoration inside the room, it looked like the factory manager's room. Jae-in found clear fingerprints on the filing cabinet. She guessed that someone must have opened the cabinet recently. She found that the front was pitch black, just like the basement. Leon took out his phone and turned on the flashlight. Leon wanted to go forward to take a look, but unexpectedly, a boy ran out from inside. The horrifying scene was terrifying. Jisoo also learned from the forensics that they couldn't confirm Geun-taek's identity based on fingerprints alone, but based on that fingerprint record, they could find out a case related to Sungmo's birthplace. That case happened in 1996. A man had locked a woman and their child underground for 9 years. Thinking about the 9-year gap on paper, Jisoo quickly realized that the boy was Sungmo. At this time, Leon decided to go into the basement to find clues. He followed the stairs down. A rusty iron cage appeared. He turned on the circuit breaker, and the entire iron cage became bright. No one could imagine that a mother and child had lived here for 9 years. There were 2 beds in the iron cage. On the table were personal belongings, but so much time had passed that this place was covered in dust. When Jisoo saw this, she couldn't help but cry. She didn't know how the mother and child had endured this life. It turned out that since college, Jisoo had secretly loved Sungmo. Recently, when she learned about his abnormality, she thought he had a problem, but when she truly understood the truth, she couldn't imagine how much pain he had suffered at that time. Jisoo said she would go to the nearby police station to find some clues, and the one who felt heartbroken was Leon. Since childhood, Leon had relied on Sungmo to survive. Leon originally thought that Sungmo had the same situation as him. He didn't expect Sungmo to go through such a terrible thing. Sungmo's height was recorded on the wall. Leon reached out and touched it. The scene from that year also flashed through his mind. A young girl kept begging Geun-taek to spare her. This young girl was Eunju. In the blink of an eye, she had become a mother about to give birth. In her belly was a child about to be born. After the child was born, Geun-taek had intended to kill it. It was Eunju who begged her to save Sungmo's life. As time passed, Sungmo gradually grew up in this iron cage. Eunju was determined to get her son out of here, but she thought it was too simple. Sungmo had no contact with the outside world, so he rarely spoke. Most of the time, he sat looking at the poster on the wall. She deliberately dressed up and asked him to bring her a dictionary. It turned out that she wanted her son to read and write. If he didn't feel human love and know how to express his emotions, Sungmo would become the next monster like his father. Although Geun-taek didn't want to, seeing her begging him like that, he finally compromised. After receiving the dictionary, she started teaching Sungmo to read and write. A small dictionary changed Sungmo. The boy began to long for the outside world. Unfortunately, there was a cage on his head, making it difficult for him to escape from this place. Feeling Sungmo's tragic childhood, Leon once again shed tears. Leon thought Sungmo was very cold, but Leon did not know that Sungmo's personality had been like that since childhood. Jisoo went to the local police station's archives and found a case that happened in 1996. That year, Eunju escaped from the iron cage with Sungmo, but when they arrived at the police station, they could not say anything. The police only found a pile of iron chains. There were no other clues. Although the suspect of the case was Geun-taek because he was good at disguising himself, the police have not been able to arrest him yet. Jisoo continued to ask about the evidence collected in the case that year, but it was taken away by the victim a few years ago. Then she saw another very important piece of information. Sungmo had aphasia in his childhood. He also had expressive language disorder. Jae-in couldn't believe that the brother who had helped her for many years had such a pitiful past. Jisoo even guessed that Sungmo's illness was inherited from his father. So why did Geun-taek love Eunju? The forensic doctor explained that people with expressive language disorder often have a smaller amygdala, but it can cause it to develop later. The appearance of Eunju most likely made Geun-taek, who couldn't express his emotions, feel love like never before. That's why Geun-taek was always looking for Eunju's existence. When Jisoo and Jae-in entered, Leon was unconscious. Using his special ability for a long time made his mind go blank. After that, Leon and Jae-in investigated. On the other side, Sungmo also started to act through the camera image. He went to the special passage in the subway subway, where Gun-taek often appeared. At the same time, Leon and Jae-in also came to this place. They thought that Gun-taek liked dark environments since he was young, so he must have been here before. The two of them went into the special passage that no one normally entered. It was extremely dark and damp inside. Suddenly, Jae-in discovered a black bag next to him. Inside was Gun-taek's murder weapon. Jae-in quickly called Jisoo to provide clues. Immediately after, Leon started touching the objects inside to see what happened. But something strange happened. Leon discovered that it was not Gun-taek's, but Sungmo, who intentionally put it inside. Leon did not understand why Sungmo did that. At this moment, the sound of light footsteps echoed from afar. Leon hurriedly pulled Jae-in to hide. When the person who came saw Leon and Jae-in, he immediately turned around and ran away. Unexpectedly, something fell on the ground. Leon discovered that this person was Eunju, who had been missing for a long time. So why did she come here? Jae-in chased after her. Because of her weak constitution, she fainted immediately. Problems arose one after another. Why did Sungmo suggest creating an image of Gun-taek who had been there? Leon recalled the previous image and discovered that Sungmo was still in the subway station. It was just that Leon was not in the same position as Sungmi. The station the two were at was called Ganguk Station. Jae-in also suddenly remembered that she had seen on the news before that the last station of the failed project was this station. At this time, Sungmo also found the place where Gun-taek was. Sungmo walked forward step by step. The ground was full of wild animal traps set by Gun-taek. For an elite prosecutor, these were just things to be trifled with. Sungmo walked forward without any fear. Sungmo had chosen to become a monster like Gun-taek. Although Sungmo had lived in an iron cage as a child, he was no longer a child. Sungmo had to make Gun-taek pay the price. Although Gun-taek had been a fugitive for more than 10 years, he had no strength to fight back in front of the young Sungmo. Just as Sungmo was about to thrust his fist into Gun-taek's chest to completely kill this monster, a gunshot rang out. The one who fired the shot was Jisoo. Jisoo knew that Sungmo wanted to deal with Gun-taek alone, so she hurried over to stop him. She didn't want him to act impulsively, but he didn't want to give in. After all, Gun-taek was no longer human but a monster. Gun-taek could kill at any time. Once Gun-taek escaped again, the people Sungmo cared about would be hurt. Sungmo hoped Jisoo wouldn't get involved. But just as Sungmo looked at Josoo, Gun-taek opened the left valve. A thick stream of gas sprayed out. Sungmo was shocked by the thick smoke and fell to the ground. This also gave Gun-taek a chance to escape. In his panic, Sungmo told Jisoo to leave because Gun-taek was too dangerous. Josoo only wanted to advise Sungmo and completely ignored what he said. Gun-taek appeared from behind and stabbed Jisoo with a dagger. After Gun-taek killed Jisoo, he quickly left. Only Sungmo remained at the scene. Jisoo was dying. Sungmo looked at Jisoo and couldn't hold back his tears. She saw the tears on his face. She understood that the person he had always liked was not a monster. He had understood her heart long ago, but he knew his own identity. He had no right to like any woman. When her hand fell to the ground, she had finally left. At this time, Jae-in received the news that Gun-taek had escaped, so she rushed to inform Leon. Jae-in also told him that Jisoo had passed away. Leon was stunned when he heard it, but Leon had seen Gun-taek running away from the subway station. The two sides began a fierce chase. Gun-taek could not compete with Leon's physical strength. Gun-taek was thrown onto the train tracks by Leon. Leon remembered the big fire at Jong-sung's apartment that year. Leon also remembered Jisoo, who had just passed away. Then Leon used his fists to vent his anger. Thanks to that, Leon also knew that the real culprit of the nursing home case was Gun-taek. After Gun-taek found Eunju, he prepared to transfer her away. But Mr. Kim saw it. Mr. Kim was a professional fighter, so Gun-taek was no match for Mr. Kim. But Mr. Kim did not kill Gun-taek, but said something strange. Although Mr. Kim could kill Gun-taek, without him, Mr. Kim would lose a distinguished guest. Leon did not know what this sentence meant, but now Leon's ability was gradually depleted. At this moment, Leon heard a conversation related to Jong-sung apartment, so Leon immediately became 100 times more alert. Leon continued to use his telepathic ability. Because of Mr. Kim's appearance, Gun-taek could not smoothly transfer Eunju to another place. The person who actually took Eunju away was Sungmo. At this time, the police arrived in time. Leon quickly asked for the truth about the fire at Jong-sung's apartment that year, but Gun-taek said that Sungmo was a master of taming. The police decided to take Gun-taek to the station for interrogation, but Gun-taek escaped right in front of the police. This made Jae-in extremely worried. After Gun-taek went out, he would definitely commit another crime. At this time, Sungmo returned to look at the map on the wall and remembered that Jisoo died because of him. Sungmo decided to change the way he dealt with Gun-taek. Sungmo circled the area where Gun-taek often appeared and decided to monitor it. Because Sungmo had fought with Gun-taek for many years, no one understood this monster better than him. After Sungmo memorized the area, he put the map down and decided to destroy this monster. At this time, Leon had a hard time accepting Jisoo's death. His will also gradually collapsed. In order to avenge Jisoo, Leon could only solve these series of unknown problems. Leon kept searching Sungmo's room, but he still couldn't find any clues. At this time, the objects on the table activated Leon's psychic ability. In the image, Sungmo placed a document on the table. He highlighted the information about the Ungsan organization. They were hiding in the subway station. Then Leon touched the Rubik's Cube on the table. This Rubik's Cube was given to Sungmo by Eunju. He also gave his mother a ring. Therefore, he always knew that his mother was alive. After Leon knew everything, he called Jae in. It turned out that Sungmo left the tool at the subway station because he didn't want the two of them to be hurt. But Jae in wondered why he had someone draw a portrait of Sungmo and his mother if they had always been in contact. He even revealed part of the plan. It didn't seem right, but at this point, what Leon wanted to know the most was the truth about the Song Sung apartment case. If what Jun-taek said was true, then who was the arsonist? Jae-in then interrogated Eunju. Jae-in wanted to hear Eunju's testimony. Under interrogation, Eunju confessed that it wasn't that she didn't want to reveal that she was alive, but that her fear prevented her from doing so. Over the years, no matter how much they tried to hide, he was always able to find their location. In the end, she decided to pretend that she was dead. That way, he wouldn't look for her anymore. When Jae-in asked if Eunju had contacted Sungmo after the Song Sung apartment case, Eunju hesitated and finally gave a negative answer. She was definitely lying, because Leon had known that two of them had met before, back to 2 years ago. One evening, Eunju received a phone call from Jun-taek. Jun-taek threatened Eunju to meet him. Otherwise, he would kill everyone in the hospital room. In order to stop him, she could only go to the Han-min nursing home. Leon discovered that Eunju had avoided a very important issue. The murderer of the apartment case that year was not Kang Jun-taek. It seemed that Eunju knew who the real murderer was. Immediately after, Jae-in showed a photo of Mr. Kim. Eunju admitted that Mr. Kim had helped her fake a new identity. At that time, Eunju and Mr. Kim went to the nursing home together. When they entered, everyone inside had been killed. At this time, Goen-taek suddenly appeared and poured a barrel of gasoline on the ground. Then he anesthetized her. It was only thanks to the timely appearance of Mr. Kim that Eunju was saved. Leon was alert and discovered that Eunju was always avoiding something. The person who took Eunju away at that time was clearly Sungmo. After Eunju woke up, she was in another place and had used Kim Song-hee's identity. After interrogation, she was exhausted and almost fell. Leon quickly supported her, so he activated his psychic ability. Leon saw Kang Gun-taek saying that the apartment fire that year was not caused by him. He also did not kill the person. The more suspicious person was Sungmo. Leon immediately opened his eyes and felt sure that Gun-taek was lying. Leon could not have imagined that the arsonist that year was Sungmo, whom he trusted very much. At this time, Gun-taek went to an abandoned clinic to treat his wound. When Jun-taek pushed the door open, he found that Sungmo had already arrived. Jun-taek knew that he could not beat Sungmo, so he intended to turn around and leave. But the next second, Gun-taek stepped on a trap. This was also the first step Sungmo took to deal with Gun-taek. Sungmo then used an iron chain to tie Gun-taek to a chair. Sungmo wanted Gun-taek to taste the taste of being imprisoned. In order to protect his dearest mother, he could only do this. Only by destroying Gun-taek could Sungmo's mother live well. As a prosecutor, Sungmo knew that the two people's case that year had long passed the statute of limitations. Therefore, even if Gun-taek was arrested by the police, it would be difficult for him to receive a suitable punishment. Therefore, Sungmo could only choose to give up his status as a prosecutor and use another way to achieve his conservative goal. Jun-taek looked defiant. Jun-taek didn't expect Sungmo not to use the same method to punish him. Only by making Jun-taek suffer more would Sungmo feel satisfied. At the same time, the police clarified Sungmo's relationships. In addition to considering Jun-taek a suspect, Sungmo also became an important target of investigation. Eunju had previously said that she didn't tell old Kim to kill Kim Song-hee and Hee-soo, so the mastermind behind it was most likely Sungmo. Previously, old Kim had said the 4 words, high-ranking honored guest. This showed that there were officials backing him up. This was the reason why the blood brokerage center had existed for so long. In addition, he said that he wasn't the arsonist. He directly pointed the spearhead at Sungmo. Therefore, Jae-in felt that finding Sungmo would be more effective than finding him. Eunju still refused to tell the whole truth. At this moment, Leon thought of the image he had seen before. Sungmo had intended to leave Korea before. Now, as long as they could find their exit records, they could prove that they were still in contact after the case. Later, Jae-in also investigated that from 2009 to 2013, Eunju had impersonated Kim Song-hee and lived in Canada. Leon also found Sungmo's passport in his house. At that time, Sungmo was an exchange student in Canada. Sungmo studied there until 2017 before returning. The last entry record was on December 1st, only 1 day before Eunju's entry date. If Sungmo Mo had always lived in Canada, then it would be difficult for Guntaek to find them. But why did Sun Mo choose to return? The fake police reminded the two. It turned out that at that time, the brokerage agency was under investigation. Sun Mo was afraid that his mother's identity would be exposed, so he chose to return. Soon after, Sun Mo changed his mother's identity to Hee Soo. Now they could confirm that the distinguished guest that old Kim was talking about was Sun Mo. But at this time, Eunju's detention period had expired. The superiors refused to extend the detention period. At this time, Sun Mo appeared here to pick up Eunju. He agreed to take a statement before leaving. Sun Mo was an experienced prosecutor, so when faced with Jaehin's questions, he could always avoid them. As long as he didn't provide evidence, he wouldn't admit what he had done. Leon was also taught by Sung Ho. No one believed that Leon had psychic abilities. Before leaving, Sung Mo blamed everything on Eunju. When confronted with the questioning, he still kept his previous statement. He also generously said that he could come back at any time. In a moment of urgency, Leon touched Sung Mo's hand and saw Eunju being tortured. From the conversation, Leon could tell that Sung Mo seemed to have set a trap again, a trap that only Sung Mo knew about. Sung Mo took his mother away from the police station. She advised him not to kill Eunju. She didn't want her son to become a monster or a murderer, but he couldn't stand this kind of life anymore. The two of them had been hiding for decades, but were still found by him. If the root cause wasn't solved, it would be difficult for the two of them to have a peaceful life. At this time, the police were still tracking Sung Mo's traces, although Jun Taek's exact location was still unknown. Fortunately, Leon sensed that Jun Taek was still alive. If Jun Taek died, many cases would be difficult to explain clearly. Therefore, Leon took Jaehin to find Sung Mo again. Leon didn't say a word and touched Sung Mo's hand. Leon saw many landmark buildings. If they found this place, it would be easy to find Jun Taek's place. Sung Mo took Leon out and said that he could not tell the exact location of Gun Taek. If Leon told, Sung Mo and his mother would have to live a life like hell. But Leon thought that Sung Mo was selfish. Leon punched Sung Mo in the face. Although Jun Taek's death was not enough to atone for his sins, and he was killed as many times as he wanted, the victims were not just two of them. Leon did not want to see this familiar, yet unfamiliar person anymore. Leon chose to leave. Inside the room, Eunju also apologized to Jaehin. If Eunju had chosen to return to testify at the beginning, her father would not have been falsely accused of murder. Now, Eunju would not choose to hide anymore. Eunju will come forward to clarify everything. At that time, Eunju saw the news that Kim Song-hee and Hee Suk were killed by the old man, and she felt extremely guilty, so she intended to do something foolish. But when she woke up, she realized that this thought was too naive. She decided to deal with the monster Jun Taek herself. This was also the reason why she appeared in the subway station, but this was just Sung Mo's way of protecting her. Next, Leon and Jae-in started looking for where Gun Taek could be imprisoned. If they didn't find Gun Taek quickly, Sung Mo might take action first. At this time, Eunju also kept advising Sung Mo to learn to let go. She didn't want her son's hands covered in the monster's blood. At the same time, So-hoon also found her father. That year, her father testified that Tae-ha became a murderer. She wanted to ask her father the truth about that year. Go back more than 10 years. At that time, Tae-ha was busy evacuating the residents from the scene. Her father led So-hun out of the house and conveniently picked up crumpled security uniform on the ground. It became evidence of Tae-ha's murder. At this time, So-hun called Jae-in to apologize to her. At this time, under Eunju's persuasion, Sung Mo finally decided to give up his revenge. Sung Mo called Leon and revealed the important location to him. Leon arrived at the scene and determined where Gun Taek was imprisoned. It was the Jongsung apartment building where the big fire broke out that year. At the same time, Sung Mo also arrived at the apartment building. The police immediately sealed off the entire building. Their purpose was to find Gun Taek and Sung Mo. After a continuous search, they determined room 702. In the room, they found Gun Taek. At this time, Gun Taek was still alive. He was promptly taken to the hospital by the police. Now the police's only target was Sung Mo. When Leon left, he accidentally touched the doorknob. Immediately after that, Leon felt the image. Time returned to more than 10 years ago. Sung Mo replaced his mother to attend the Women's Association meeting. Just as he bent down to tie his shoelaces, he heard footsteps slowly approaching, followed by the sound of a suitcase being pulled. And this person was Gun Taek. Jun Taek came to find the two of them again. Jun Taek went to their place and found that there was no one there. Jun Taek pulled out his dagger, preparing for the worst. Sung Mo also did not stay here for the meeting, but chose to return to his previous place. When Sung Mo saw the finger in the suitcase, he knew that Jun Taek wanted to use the cicada shedding method to take his mother away. Sung Mo looked at all the tools on the ground and immediately had the same idea as Jun Taek. Sung Mo, wearing a security guard uniform, knocked on the door of the Women's Association director's room. Just as she showed suspicion, Sung Mo used extreme speed to penetrate penetrate her right abdomen. After that, he did not stop and used the same method to kill 2 more people. After Sun Mo killed someone, he was extremely nervous. But in order for his mother to escape, he decided to continue rearranging the room to create a fake scene of his mother's death. Then, he cut off the gas pipe and put a lighter in the microwave. Thus, the plan was completed. When he escaped, he took off his security guard uniform and threw it in the hallway. This was the entire process of the Jongsung apartment fire that year. At this point, Leon was so heartbroken that he suffocated. Even though Jaein helped Leon with CPR, he still had a hard time waking up. After many efforts, he finally woke up. He told her the truth he felt. She couldn't believe everything she heard. At this time, Leon also guessed where Sung Mo was. It was the house Sung Mo used to live in. Actually, Sung Mo had come here many times to find salvation for himself, but now it seemed that everything was too late. That year, Sung Mo opened Juntaek's suitcase and simply thought that as long as he locked Juntaek in jail, he and his mother would be free. The moment he heard the explosion, his difficulty expressing his emotions ended. That's why Sung Ho took Leon and jumped from the 7th floor. Now the matter was clear. He had no other choice but to confess. Sung Mo apologized to the two of them for the crime he committed, causing Jaein's father to suffer injustice for more than 10 years. In the hospital, Juntaek was saved. However, because his arm was so badly infected, it had to be amputated. During the interrogation, the police asked Sung Mo why he killed so many people but not Juntaek. Sung Ho said that he wanted Juntaek to live in more pain than letting Juntaek die directly. In court, Juntaek refused to admit that he had killed someone. The purpose was to have Juntaek testify in court. Juntaek wanted to see Eunju one last time. It was not until he saw her that his attitude changed. Because she testified in court, he was sentenced to death. Because Sung Mo admitted his crime, he also received forgiveness from the victim's family. In the end, Sung Mo was sentenced to 13 years in prison. A year later, Leon is working hard to become a real police officer. He took exams while helping other police officers solve cases. That day, Leon went to the prison to visit Sung Mo. Now Leon could not hate Sung Mo. Sung Mo had been blaming himself ever since he saved Leon. Sung Mo was torn inside. Sung Mo felt guilty for taking care of him on behalf of Leon's parents. Now the incident was over. Finally, Sung Mo was at peace. The next day, Leon and Jaein rented a house together. The two started living together. On the way, he happened to meet a man. His pregnant wife had a child aborted due to a medical incident. Leon saw the flyer and picked it up to return it to the man. The moment Leon touched this person, he decided he had to help this person. The movie ended here. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, and see you again.